Welcome Essential Math. In this video, we'll talk about rounding whole numbers. Place value is very important when we round whole numbers because we are told what place value to round to. So if we are rounding to the nearest 10, we're going to find the multiple of 10 that we're closest to. That means our answer would be something like 0, 10, 20, 30, or 160, 170. Notice when we round to the nearest 10, we'll always have a 0 in the ones place. You might be asked to round to the nearest 100. That means we're finding the multiple of 100 that we're closest to. Could be 200, 300, 400, or we could be in the thousands, 1,700, 1,800. Notice when we round to the nearest 100 that we will have a 0 in the tens and the ones place. It can be helpful to use a number line to visualize this. Let's round the number 16 to the nearest 10. To do this, start by thinking of your options. The multiples of 10 are 10 and 20. So rounding 16 to the nearest 10 means, is 16 closer to 10 or is 16 closer to 20? You can count. 16 up to 20 is a difference of 4. 16 down to 10 is a difference of 6. This means 16 is closer to 20. Sometimes it is helpful for students to think about this as a peaked number line, because it can be hard to determine which way we're going to round. For these peaked number lines, I put a peak at the midpoint. Between 0 and 10, 5 is in the middle. Between 10 and 20, 15 is in the middle. Now I can put the point I want to round on my number line. Let's look at some examples. Let's round 23 to the nearest 10. So first we're going to start by finding where 23 is. So down here is 20, 21, 22, 23. So that means I would put my dot up there on my peak. Now imagine that 23 is going to slide down into a valley. 23 is going to slide down and it would round to 20. So 23 rounded to the nearest 10 is 20. Let's try it with 18. So I'm going to find where 18 goes. 18 is between 15 and 20. So 18 would be about there. When I have 18 slide into the valley, it would also slide into the valley of 20. Now let's round 15 to the nearest 10. 15 is already graphed. It's at the top of the peak. Now this one gets tricky. Which valley is 15 going to slide into? Mathematicians have decided that the numbers at the peaks are going to slide into the larger valley. So we're always going to nudge those peaks down to the right. So 15 also rounds to 20. So we can summarize this about rounding to 10. When we're rounding to 10, we're going to look at the number in the ones place. If there's a 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the ones place, we're going to slide back into the valley. This means that the tens digit will stay the same, but the ones digit will become a 0. If there's a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 in the ones place, we're going to slide forward into the valley. This is going to make the tens digit go up 1. But again, the ones digit will remain 0. So let's round 28 to the nearest 10. The 2 is in the tens place. The 8 is in the ones place. The 8 makes us slide into the bigger valley. 28 rounded to the nearest 10 is 30. This is because 28 is closer to 30 than it is to 20. We can also do this with numbers that are bigger than tens. like 284. To round that to the nearest 10, we're going to again look at the number in the ones place. The 4 tells us that we would slide to the smaller value. That means we're going to slide and leave the 8 the same. 284 rounds to 280. 284 is closer to 280 than it is to 290.